Good morning, everybody. My name is Mahmoud El Tayeb, Egyptologist, English and German tour guide. Today, I would like to share you a video from Queen Hatshipsut Temple, the afterlife cult temple, and it is so called when we say funerary temple. It is the temple of the million years dedicated to Queen Hatshepsut's soul. And in fact, Queen Hatshepsut was great queen, ruled Egypt, and there are some false stories when we mention Hatshepsut and some folks, or we can say not professional people, when they talk about some stories. I would like to share and correct these stories about Hatshepsut. So I mentioned some false stories, and then I will correct each one. The first false story talk about Hatshepsut was the only queen ruled Egypt. Story number two, Hatshepsut got love story or fall in love with someone called Sinenmut. The third one, Hatshepsut decided to connect her tomb with her temple. The fourth one, in the front after you drop of the Mediterranean, you can see the ruins of the two trees or roots of two trees, and the stories talk about Hatshepsut brought them from Puntland, Somalia, but in fact it is false story also. In fact, when we talk about Hatshepsut, other story about her mummy in the Egyptian museum, it is also false story. It isn't the true mummy of Queen Hatshepsut. So back to the first false story, I will correct it. Number one, when we talk about Hatshepsut, was the only female pharaoh ruled Egypt, or only female or only woman ruled Egypt. In fact, it is a big false story, not true. In fact, when we talk about Hatshepsut, she was one of 7 queens ruled Egypt. When we flash back to the first dynasty, there are a queen mother of King Den, the 5th king of the first dynasty, called Merit Neith, the beloved of the goddess Neith. Dates back according to her name had been brought among kings or rulers as king list of Jaab, the tombs at Abydos. The second queen, she was the daughter of King Bibi II, the longest period, the owner of the longest period in history, who ruled Egypt 94 years. He got the throne when he was young, about 6 years old, and then continue until 100 years old. So we can mention maybe the longest life, the longest period ruled Egypt, 94 years. Bibi II about 2250 before Christ. So his daughter was the second queen ruled Egypt, Nitocrit, her name. The third queen ruled Egypt. She was a queen of the 12th dynasty, Middle Kingdom, daughter of King Amenemhat III, wife and sister of Amenemhat IV. She called Sobek Nefro. So the last ruler of the 12th dynasty. The fourth one was Queen Hatshepsut herself, the queen of 18th dynasty, ruled Egypt 22 years. Then the queen of 19th dynasty, Tawistret. Then the sixth one, Cleopatra the Great, Greek time. She ruled from 50 before Christ until 31 BC. Then the last one, the 11th century Queen Shajar ad-Durr, who ruled just 70 days, Ayyubid period. In fact, so they were 7 queens, so that means not only Hatshepsut ruled Egypt. That was number 1, I corrected. The second, in fact, when we talk about a full story, talk about the love story, Hatshepsut and her assistant or supervisor, Sininmut, the son of the nurse or the babysitter of Queen Hatshepsut, and he got some jobs, or we can see he got a lot of titles, and his career was great during Hatshepsut period, called Sininmut. But in fact he was not her boyfriend, as some people mentioned, and there are false story about. There are a tomb this side, as you see, background of the mountain. There are a tomb unknown or grave. There are some graffiti and doggy style as 6 position. Someone male, and the second one got the doggy style, standing doggy style, and there are she looks like a queen because that's head Nemesis dress called Nemesis, and the cobra it on above, but in fact it isn't evidence, and we can't say 100% she is Hatshepsut and he is Sininmut. So called when we talk about there are a love story and so on. In fact, the third false story, after you, for example, over there, when that's dropped from the main train, there are 2 trees, or the ruins of the 2 trees, and they mentioned that Hatshepsut had been brought, those 2 trees had been brought by Hatshepsut from her trade expedition to Puntland, but in fact it is false story. In fact, the 2 trees were live trees, 2 live trees in 1960 or 1965, and we have evidence. One of the natives of this village told me the story. When he was a child, and he saw them, and in fact that had been buried, maybe cut and then buried, and after restoration work and they removed the dust, they found the 2 roots of the ruins of the 2 roots of the 2 trees, and they bought this sign refers to those by Hatshepsut, but in fact it isn't dates back by Hatshepsut, or had been brought by Hatshepsut. So we are sure 100% were not Hatshepsut's period or time, because it is not logic. Those roots in good condition, very good condition. So new 2 trees were there. The false story about Hatshepsut, when she decided, we know well that is the background of Hatshepsut temple, and next when that's not allowed today, over there the white line or the footprint when the people were walking on foot about 40 minutes or half hour to cross, and they dropped to Valley of the Kings, and directly of this cliff or the mountain there are the tomb of Queen Hatshepsut, KV20. And when we talk about Hatshepsut, decide to there are meeting point, the Holy of Holies, the sanctuary with her tomb chamber, and it is not logic, because Hatshepsut's tomb, when we go go then depth like a snake or a serpent, looks like the plant 213 meters, and that goes under beneath. And look at when you go to the sanctuary itself, it is upper trace, upper register. So it is not logic when we say or talk about Hatshepsut. And I'm very sure about the end of Hatshepsut burial chamber, nothing had been cut.